What's going on, folks? Ted from Immersion here. Pardon the appearance, but not only do I most likely have COVID, I've also been in the process of tearing out my entire upstairs staircase to replace it with a brand new updated one that I had planned to do before the COVID diagnosis, so it is what it is. But that being said, it is the first Friday of the month here in January 2022, so that means it's time for a DM's Guild Roundup review. I have three very, very good products to kick off the year. They cover a wide variety of things, from magic to villains to something Eberron specific. So a little bit for everybody. They're all very highly rated. There's a ton of content there to go through, so there's my number, subscriber count, you know the deal. Please subscribe if you haven't. If not, you make your own decisions, and let's jump right in. So I'll show you the three that we have, and then I'll go through them individually. Up first, we have the Archvillian Archive from a whole group of people. It is a best Electrum seller here on the DM's Guild. Only has one 5-star rating. Came out just before Christmas, but basically, yeah, it is just a compilation of archvillains for you to utilize in your campaign. It also includes some other things like magic items and some new spells as well, which I thought was pretty great. And if we move on to the next one, we have Hektula's Khyber Codex, which is a best copper seller. It has, sorry, my dogs are barking. I don't know what's going on upstairs. But we have three 5-star ratings here. This one only came out on the 4th of January, so only 3 days ago. And this is all about the demiplane depths of the world of Khyber. So it says it's a 5th edition expansion for the Eberron campaign. It also pulls, obviously, from the concept of demiplanes as well. Over 38 demiplanes of all shapes and sizes to populate the world below. And then it also has random encounters, trinkets, monster templates, magic items, and evolving artifacts. And lastly, we have the High Magic Sourcebook. Unfortunately, not rated right now, but it is a best copper seller. Also came out on the 4th of January. And this has all sorts of rules regarding super powerful magical things. This is everything from a high magic to epic level magic of spells of 10th level and beyond. I think there's even a level 24 spell in here, but obviously higher level magical spells require much more workings to have happen. We also have 2 new subclasses, downtime activities, feats, and so on. There is a full preview you can see right here, but let's just go ahead and jump right in. So we'll start with the Archvillian Archive. I also tell you check the link in the description. Right at the top of the description, you'll see all of these links for these 3 products. They are DM's Guild affiliate links, so I do benefit slightly monetarily if you're kind enough to use one of those links. But there also is a coupon code. I do, as a reminder, have a coupon code that is active year-round that is 5% off a community-created offering of 5% or more. And then every month when I do these videos, I give you a 10% off a $10+ community order, and that code changes, but it's usually only active for about a full week before it goes inactive. But the more of you that pick up stuff using my codes and my links and things like that, we can drive that 10% coupon code up a little bit higher, maybe to 15 or 20%, depending on what kind of turnout we show for the DM's Guild, and then it potentially might lead to giveaways and other things as well. So anyway, as we can see here, it does have bookmarks, so as we know, that's automatic bonus points for me. And you can see here is the list of all of the villains, and then the rewards, and then the spells. The one that I want to click on, I'm trying to remember which was the one that I liked. It was Horak Lighthead, I believe. He's the dwarf. Yeah, is this the one? Yep. Okay, so Horak Lighthead was a young warrior. I'm not going to go through everything, by the way, and I do have a lot to cover. This is 103 pages. The other ones are similar amounts or more, so it is going to take me a little bit to get through them, so I can only touch on so much. But basically, he was a seasoned dwarf leader. Let's see. With no path to fame or glory, Horak turned to a small collection of books he borrowed from the Hold's libraries. They talked about cities destroyed long ago. He got permission to lead a group there, but his materialistic goals were a little bit more ambitious than that. He was going to sell the artifacts to become super rich. The Citadel was home to one of the dwarves' ancient ancient enemies, rather, the Dwergar. He found a pair of magical items that a Dwergar treasure hunter had used. One was a magical whip that could compel its victims to tell where their artifacts were hidden. The other was a large hook that could be thrown and stuck into walls for dashing grappling hook escapes. He thought a mundane hook wouldn't be enough to stand out, so he paid an artificer to turn the hook into a chandelier to make a more appropriate entrance and exit. After a lifetime following dwarven traditions, doing what he was supposed to do and not getting valued for it, he goes out of his way to violate taboos, looking for jobs that will give him wealth and infamy. Killing others is just part of the job. And you can see if you defeat him, you do get access to the Dowsing Whip, which is the magic item that's there. And then we have his stat block here. He is a challenge rating 16. Has a bunch of skill proficiencies. Dex, Intelligence, Wisdom, Saving Throws, Resistance to Poison, typical Dwarven stuff. So he has the Dowsing Whip and Boots of Striding and Springing. He does have Cunning Action, so he is, roguish right here. So we've got Cunning Action, Dwarven Resilience, Evasion, Legendary Resistance 3 times a day. He also has Rage, as though the Barbarian, after a short or long rest, as well as Reckless Attack, Sneak Attack once a turn for 46 extra damage. On his attacks, you make 3 of them. The Dowsing Whip, 10-foot reach, a D8 plus 4, or D4 plus 8 slashing damage plus 2d8 necrotic damage. He has a dart launcher with a range of 60 feet, D4 plus 6 piercing damage, and darts launched from this divine count as magical. Do not suffer a penalty for long range. And then the Pocket Chandelier, which recharges on a 5 or 6. Horak creates a magical chandelier that can hang on any surface within 30 feet, then jumps towards the chandelier and swings his whip to hang from it. All creatures watching must make a DC 19 Wisdom saving throw. On a failure, targets cannot take reactions and make all attack rolls at disadvantage. After using this action, Horak can jump down, make 1 attack as a bonus action. If the target failed the saving throw, the attack's made with advantage, and any hit is considered a critical. I just love the pizzazz of this guy. And then he also has legendary actions, of which he has 3. One of them is called Classical Escape, which also caught my eye. He uses a smoke bomb, creating a heavy obscurement at a 20-foot radius, and they can move up to 15 feet and hide. Reposition. He moves up to his full movement without provoking attacks of opportunity, or so many moves, which costs 2 actions. He recharges his Pocket Chandelier and then uses it immediately. So if we're going to skip ahead to... there's also some other good ones here, like Thanatos, God of Death, and there's some good stuff in here as well. But let's jump ahead. I want to just show the Dowsing Whip here. So here it is down the bottom. This whip always appears to be fraying and covered in dust. Gives you a +2 to attack and damage rolls. And deals an extra 2d8 necrotic damage on a hit. If you kill a creature with this weapon, you can spend 10 minutes communing with the weapon to cast Speak with Dead on that creature. If you ask questions about historical artifacts or lore, the target is compelled to answer those questions to the best of their ability. I thought that was pretty cool as well. And then I wanted to skip ahead. There are some that are significantly more powerful. As you can see, Glorious Aegis has various stages as you can move through it. But I wanted to skip to the spells, specifically Devour Essence, which is a 9th level mythic transmutation spell. Casting time of 8 hours, requires 25,000 gold GP worth of gold dust. As part of casting this spell, you inscribe a 15-foot diameter golden thaumaturgy circle into the ground over the course of a minute, trapping a CR5 or higher creature in the circle. If they're an aberration, celestial, fey, fiend, or undead, it cannot leave the circle by any means. At the end of the hour, for the entire casting time, a creature can attempt to break free with charisma check against you. If you know the true name of the creature, you have advantage on the check. If the creature does not succeed at least 3 times, they're trapped, granting you the measure of the abilities permanently. And you can see here. So if it's a fiend, it's going to grant you permanent resistance to fire and poison damage and immunity to the poison condition. Celestial, your weapon attacks deal 3d8 radiant damage. Undead, you no longer need to eat, breathe, or drink. Additionally, you can no longer die from old age. Fey, you can cast the spell Greater Invisibility on yourself without expending a spell slot. Once per short rest. Or Aberration, you are immune to psychic damage and have telepathy out to 120 feet. You can gain multiple benefits from multiple castings of the spell, but you cannot gain the same benefit twice. Moving on to Hektula's Khyber Codex. Unfortunately, this one does not have bookmarks, which is a travesty because it's 151 pages and there's a lot of stuff to go over. So again, I don't like the color scheme. I get the concept of trying to color code the different sections to make them stand out and easier to find. I find it actually quite hard to read myself, so I don't really love that personally. It's just very distracting to the eye. Now, this is an annotated PDF, so if you click on this, it will take you to the section, but again, there's a lot of bouncing back and forth between the table of contents here. So once again, as I've said, if you're going to put something out in PDF form only, include bookmarks. It's not a big ask, and it helps a lot. So we have a little bit here about the realm of Khyber, the creation of it, for how to DMs to use it. There's templates here. Again, I'm just going to scroll through here to show you some of the other stuff. All right, where are we going? We got factions and plot hooks all throughout here. We got villains, and then we got the prisons of the the prisons of the ancients. In the grand tapestry of Eberron's history, a host of powerful beings have pursued other selfish goals. They're sort of locked away, these prisoners. The most famous beings jailed in this way are the Delkir, the Lords of Madness. It says, as a result, some demiplanes have been co-opted as natural cells for these creatures, right? So that's the whole thing. And my favorite that I want to show you here is Jeff Smith. Here we go. The realm of certain Jeff. The demiplanes of Khyber are brutal, savage, and alien. They challenge the mettle of any adventurers that dare to journey within the violent with violent monsters and impossible terrain. The rarest among them don't. Some find this potentially more disturbing than the ones full of blood-drinking horrors. One among these rare oases is the realm of certain Jeff, home to the normal mortal human by the name of Jeff Smith. Jeff is literally just Jeff, with no memories of his former life. Jeff is a prisoner in his own small demiplane, living for untold ages in a comfortable log cabin he has no memory of making. The grand cosmic reasoning for Jeff's banishment to his own personal demiplane is utterly unknown. After all, Jeff is literally just a human named Jeff. It is possible that the draconic prophecy required Jeff's containment, that a vast conspiracy by the Lords of Dust or the Dragons of Argonesen involved creating a prison that Jeff could never leave, preventing him from shaping the monumental events of the future. It could be that Jeff is not Jeff, but that would be utterly ridiculous, for Jeff is literally just himself. In any case, the realm of certain Jeff is a great place to rest, if it can be found, of course. So here's all the other ones have express things you can find and unique properties, and the demiplane of certain Jeff, he's literally Jeff. These are the properties. Within the realm, any attempts to determine Jeff's alignment, type, or age immediately fail, as do attempts to teleport Jeff to another plane. He has no control over this. He's literally just Jeff. Taking a long rest within the realm of certain Jeff restores all spent hit die and cures all diseases. Jeff's house is extraordinarily comfortable in every way, absolutely perfectly comfortable. And it says Jeff is just a regular dude, has no memory of his former life. The loneliness gets to him at times. He appreciates any company. He has long accepted that this is his life now, but maybe one day things will change. In the meantime, he's taking every day as it comes. Jeff cannot perceive or interact with any portals. He occupies himself through farming, tending to his chickens and small garden, going for morning runs around the demiplane, and cooking fresh bread. Occasionally, he tries his hand at wood carving. Such is the life of a normal human. What else can he do? He's literally just Jeff. He talks about how he has a rustic cabin. The air is comfortably warm. The soundscape includes light breezes, chirping birds, and soft rainfall. The wind carries the scent of baking bread, and the sun is the same as on Eberron's surface as are the moons and stars at night. Jeff's dominion extends to his chickens, who willingly serve him by producing eggs and providing some level of companionship. The realm of certain Jeff contains no gold, artifacts, or magic items. Instead, it contains the most valuable treasure of all: warm friendship and comfortable, safe, long rest. Given some ingredients, Jeff is able to rustle up home-cooked food for proper rustic experience. With so few visitors, Jeff is naturally keen to provide what he can in exchange for wild tales. No, really, I don't know. Take from that what you will. And I think that is just fantastic. I absolutely love the realm of certain Jeff, and that might be making an appearance in my homebrew campaigns, even if they're not tied to Eberron. And then we can skip ahead. We do have an adventure guide section here. We have obviously more characters and things to discuss as we move along. But we do have about running campaigns. We also have some stuff about crafting, as well as dealing with food and rations, and an adjustment to the rest system here. And I thought this was interesting. Partial recovery. In this system, players choose upon taking a long rest which resource they're going to recover. All their hit points, half their maximum hit die, or all of their features that recharge on a long rest. The same option can be picked consecutively. This adds an interesting and crucial decision for players to consider each day. In this system, characters, rarer comforts, simple and adjustable, it says here. In this system, characters only get the benefits of a true long rest every second night of sleep, with the interim night acting as a short rest. So 1 night's sleep is a short rest, 2 nights is a long rest. I thought that was pretty interesting. We have a lot here about navigation, which is always good to see. A whole section here on social encounters, 3 separate trinket tables, and then a bunch of magic items. First off, it starts with the symbiote items that we're familiar to seeing from the Eberron book, right? For example, these spaceshift gauntlets are a symbiote item, but when you hit someone with an unarmed strike, you can shove them an additional 5 feet horizontally, and if you shove them into something, they take damage. Scrolling down, there was definitely something that I liked. Oh, Scream. Was it Scream one with armor? No, it was not. It was... the Phoenix Vizard. Vizard? It is a Shadowcraft item here, but it is a mask made from the blazing feathers of a phoenix. When you are reduced to 0 hit points while wearing it, a wave of rejuvenating fire bursts from your form at the start of your next turn, healing you and every ally within 30 feet for a number of hit points equal to your character level. Each enemy within 30 feet must make a DC 17 dex save or take 48 fire damage or half on a success. Once this property occurs, it cannot occur again until 3 days have passed. I just like that one. I thought it was a cool little thing. We've all seen probably Phoenix items, but I haven't seen one that does that also heals your allies, which I thought was unique. And then that's pretty much it for here. As far as, again, there's more artifacts. Oh, sorry, this is what I wanted to show you. They have a bunch of, essentially vestiges of the Divergence kind of, magic items that gain power as they level up. I have a whole bunch of different ones here, and there's one specifically that I wanted to show you. Where is it? Spear, no, that's not it. Slitherfang, because it's a blowgun, and I made a video in the past about how blowguns suck, so maybe this artifact level blowgun will be worth your time. So obviously it has sentience because it's those kinds of artifacts. It's infused with the essence of a Merilith. Alright, so in its shackled form, you can communicate telepathically with reptiles and amphibians, including scaled races with a range of 120 feet. +1 to attack rolls, ignoring the loading property. And a creature hit with this takes an additional 2d4 damage of either poison or cold damage, your choice. You do not spend extra movement when you move or get disadvantage on attack rolls while you are prone. Immunity to effects of extreme cold. And when you are hidden and miss an attack roll, you remain hidden and your position is not revealed. While hidden, you ignore the loading property of this weapon. It said that you did that before, but okay. Bonded, the next level, it goes up to +2 and 3d4 poison or cold damage. When a creature hit with this weapon, its speed is reduced by 10 feet. You can expend half your movement to escape being grappled by slithering out of the hold on you and ignore opportunity attacks until the end of your turn. After doing so, I assume that's supposed to be turn. You can cast Stinking Cloud with a DC 15 and Summon Beast, which isn't... Summon Beast a spell? I think it is. Or Summon... No. Is that a new spell in this book? There's a Summon Spirits, the Spirit spells. Anyway, Snake, Crocodile, or Glide Wing for each respective option. Once per day, each without expending a spell slot. Your skin becomes scaly and your AC becomes 13 plus your dex mod. And then the final version, it becomes +3. Does 44 extra damage. The speed reduction people take is 15 feet when they're hit with it. You can expect half your movement on your turn to escape being grappled or restrained, or all of your movement to escape both. When you make an attack roll with advantage using this weapon, you can move up to half your movement speed after the attack. And you can cast Sunbeam and Cloud Kill, dealing cold damage instead of radiant for the Sunbeam with a DC 18 once per day without requiring material components, using it as the focus. I thought that was a pretty cool one, and yeah, it does sound like as a blowgun that would be pretty much worth your time. We do have a handful of various monster stat blocks here as well. We have some environmental effects, and then a wild magic table. And lastly, we have the High Magic Sourcebook, which does have bookmarks, which is also good. Hektula's was 151 pages. The High Magic Sourcebook is only 58, but there's a lot to read through. So as you can see here from the start, it gives us a little bit about what is high magic, talking again about the fall of Netheril and things of that nature. We have what high magic is, which is sort of a field that you create that allows certain things to happen. And then there's different ways you can manipulate a high magic field. Which you can see here are incantations, and then there's also intonations. And then things you can do, as you can see here, right? So incantation descriptions and then intonation descriptions. We have how you would learn about it in the High Magic source books and the different spellcraft checks you can make associated with that. Casting of epic spells and crafting your own. Player options, right? Here's the two subclasses. We have a bunch of feats here, which are pretty good. Some interesting magic items. And then the spells are probably some of my favorite part. But again, there's some also interesting creatures here at the end. So why don't we go ahead and we'll just click through. We're going to skip the history of high magic, and we'll go into wielding of high magic. So I'm not going to go over this too much because there's a lot here. But you can see it basically says there's a couple of things you can do with the high magic induction spell, right, which lets you create a field. And then you can choose, until the spell ends, the high magic field moves centered on you. For the duration, you can use the following techniques to manipulate the field and alter the effects. A meta magic incantation with a spell of 3rd level or lower is cast within the field. You can attempt to use an incantation, which is covered later. Or a high magic intonation allows you to alter the field in some way, right? Extending the field, doubling the field, combining the field with other fields. Ending the spell, and then again, there's stuff about, because this is dealing with such high-powered magic, there are side effects, right? It could blow up in your face. It can blow up in your face and then some. And then again, there's again how about how you manipulate it. And this is kind of discovered or talked about over high level. And this is the kind of stuff we're talking about, right? 5 different wizards casting a spell, right? It says 5 high mages conjure a Yoklo from another dimension, a sickly yellow shape-shifting mass of slime, eyes, and teeth. This is the kind of stuff we're talking about. In the shows you watch, or TV shows, anime, whatever it is, even like other stories where a bunch of spellcasters get together and all pool their power to do one big epic thing, like this is the kind of magic that we're talking about here. Talks about how you learn about gathering incantations, and here's again the magical failure, right? All of the different you roll on the table. And then what happens if you get a high magic catastrophe? There's all these different things. There's levels of exhaustion. You know, a 1 or lower on the D100. Arcane feedback, 5 levels of exhaustion, magical aging, raw magical explosion, and then roll on the high magic catastrophe table. Right? So arcane feedback is just straight up damage. You take force damage equal to a D4 plus the spell's power. If the damage reduces you to 0 hit points, you are stable. So that's something, right? We've got exhaustion, it's pretty simple. Magical aging is a D4 times the spell's triggering power. Raw magical explosion is a radius of 10 times the triggering spell's power. And then on a failed save, a creature takes force damage equal to a D10 times the failed spell's power. And then again, we have the various, you can create dead magic zones or things of that nature. And then again, here's some of the incantations that you can do, right? These are the ones that kind of alter the spells. Extend the duration, add a bonus, reroll attacks, and grant AC bonus. And then those are all sort of described there. What enhancing things does, right? And it even gives you some examples here, right? Like enhance incantation / factor effect, right? How could you alter awaken, arcane eye, skywrite, tensor's floating disk, things of that nature. And if we move on, we have the intonation, which is altering the field, right? Increase the level of the high magic field, allow everybody to share spell slots, merge 2 fields together, and so on. So from there, we'll skip ahead to the source book chapter, which is talking about how you gather it and how to copy spells into it, because you need to have a high magic source book to even have access to this. And it'll give you how to learn the different factors and how much things are going to cost. As you can see, transposing spells and whatnot can be catastrophic as well and cost a ton of money. They talk a little bit here about epic spells. Again, we're talking the 10th level or higher spells here, and crafting one of your own. I'm going to skip the 2 subclasses and we'll go to the feats. I really like this first one here. I thought it was pretty nice. Arcane Expert requires proficiency in the Arcana skill. You gain expertise with Arcana checks, and then again, if you're using these spellcraft checks that are part of this system, you will it'll work for those as well. You have advantage on ability checks using Counterspell and Dispel Magic, and you can cast Identify once without expending a spell slot with no material components. I thought that was good. There's some other ones here, right? Some of them require certain situations, like certain spell casting. These are actually tied to, I don't know, I'm sorry, that's the subclass. But you can see some of them are very tied specifically to this stuff in this book. We have a bunch of magic items of a variety of different power levels, like the Nether Scrolls themselves. I also really just like that there's a tattoo that I wouldn't think of tattoos in a magic book, but the tattoo focus. While this tattoo is on your skin, you get the following benefits. It can be used as your spellcasting focus. You can add 2 to the spell save DC for all saving throws against spells you cast from your specialized school of magic. Again, you have to be specialized, right? While you're in an area effect of a circle or high magic field, you can cast a spell from your specialized school. You can use your reaction to cancel the spell's effects and store it in the tattoo focus. The tattoo focus can store a number of spells equal to your spellcasting ability mod. These spells must be of no level greater than your wizard level. And while you are in the circle's area of effects and are not its circle leader, you can use your action to transfer one of your spell slots to the circle leader, again, when you're doing circle-based spells. I also really like the Wand of Spell Capture, which kind of is self-explanatory, but people can make a check and you can essentially snag a spell from them. And then we have a whole bunch of spells. As you can see, we even have something as low as a cantrip, which I'll save you. Forked Lightning, I really like. It's basically green Flame Blade, except it does lightning damage. But it's accessible to Artificer and Bard, which is nice. We have a handful of other middling spells here. Some stuff simple, like Wood Shape, similar to Stone Shape. But then we have some, as we start to get higher, and you can see here we're into the 10th level spells, 15th level spells, and then creating a Mythal is a 24th level spell. But yeah, these spells here are actually pretty well done, I'd say, overall. Arcane Drain is a 2nd level ritual spell. Choose to gain 2 levels of exhaustion. In return, you gain 4 slot levels, which can be combined into any number of spell slots whose combined levels equal 4. You gain a number of spell slots. You can't gain spell slots higher than you can ordinarily cast. Unused spell slots go away after a long rest, and if you reach 6 levels of exhaustion because of the spell, you die at the start of the next round, and you can upcast this. I very much like this high-risk, high-reward playstyle because it's a voluntary thing. I can choose to say, hey, I really need spell slots. I've got a 2nd level ritual spell left. Let me take the hit and get some slots back if I really desperately need it. There's the Circle spell we had talked about. Also, Circle of Divinity. I want to get one of the higher level spells here. Here's Death Armor, sort of, again, a reactionary one. Similar to a shield, but slightly different. It's instead of getting a bonus to your AC, for the duration, any creature, which is 1 round, within 5 feet that touches your body or hits you with a metal object takes necrotic damage equal to a d4 plus your spellcasting mod, and any damage you're dealt by the source is reduced by your spellcasting mod. So it's like it's a damage reduction and retributive hit on an enemy hitting you. I'd say shield's probably still better, but either way. Epic Counterspell and Epic Dispel Magic are nothing crazy. If they're casting a spell of 10th level or 9th level or lower, it just immediately dispels it or counters it. Whereas if it's of 10th level or higher, you still need to make an ability check. But on a failure, you must make a high magic failure roll, which is slightly different. Let's look at greater... no, greater contingency is not interesting. Memento Mori. I thought I would be more excited about this, but it's essentially power word kill. With just a thought, you can compel one creature you can see within range to die instantly. If the creature you choose has 100 hit points or fewer, it dies. Otherwise, the spell has no effect. I can't be sure, but I'm pretty sure that's exactly the same as power word kill with almost no changes. Just thinking of that off the top of my head. But we do have Song of Battle here, which is a 15th level spell. Again, this one I also doesn't feel justifies 15th level, but you imbue your allies with bravery. Up to 10 creatures of your choice within 30 feet are immune to being frightened for the duration and gain temporary hit points equal to your spellcasting modifier at the start of each of their turns. I mean, the immunity to fear an 18th level paladin can do that up to 30 feet. And that's all the time on top of their other auras as well. So I don't know. That one doesn't really do it for me. Let's keep going. See if we can find another one. Well, that was it. So let's jump up. We'll go to greater contingency. It's contingency, but up to 9th level. All right. Well, I guess that's that. Again, they do have a lot of rules in here specifically to make your own spells, not just to use the ones that are contained in here. So I would say that that's probably what I would be doing that. And I wouldn't be throwing around high magic stuff like this willy-nilly in your campaign. Like a campaign could be built around this needing to cast an epic level spell, needing to find the ability to do this. Unless you want to institute high magic in this concept of high magic areas, which is a thing you could do. It's also nice to see the Baelnorn return, which is essentially a good lich. So I was excited to see that. And then we'll just go through, make sure we didn't miss anything. And then it has a little bit on other worlds, and then a bibliography. So there you go, folks. Thank you all so much for watching. You can use the code HAPPYNEWNERD, so Happy New Nerd, all one word, for 10% off a $10 or more community created item or PDFs on the DMs Guild here until the 14th. So that is, or through the 14th. So that is a week from today. Again, reminder, there's the code in the description for the 5% off as well, which is active all year round. So anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I think there could definitely be some interesting stuff to be done by combining and using these with some of the other stuff that we've covered in the past. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.